about what, 5 miles away from the historic, beautiful city of Lancaster. There's a little fishing and dock village called Glasson. Originally it was called Old Glasson, or Browse Saltcote, until about 1779, when the Lancaster port commissioned and decided to build a dock at the River Lune to the port of Lancaster. Thus, its more business name and trend was to be known as Glasson Dock. And so my railway journey will today explore some of the Dock Branch Railway's features from here all the way along the line, along the railway itself, via a viaduct, past the gasworks, onto Lancaster Railway Station on the West Coast Mainline. And the port expanded really well initially, way back in the 1800s, trading with many parts of the world with items like tobacco and cotton and rum from the West Indies, originally transported by horse and the canal from the south bank of the River Lune estuary here in Lancashire. In 1793, the idea to build a canal extension from Galdgate near Lancaster actually took 30 years for fruition. Dropping down some 53 feet, the building of the canal started in 1823, thus helped the transportation of goods landed at the port and sent off into the heart of the industrial Lancashire. Because the locks were 14 feet wide, smaller ships did not have to transship their cargoes to canal boats. They could sail right through the dock and along the canal. The first boat to do so was a schooner called Sprightly, which carried slate to Preston in May 1826. And as the port did really well, it was kind of talent spotted by the London and Northwestern Railway as a potential way to improve and expand their portfolio and position on the railway stage. So therefore Glasson Dock Branch Railway was opened by the London and Northwestern Railway on the 9th of July 1883. And it was here, just beside the bus stop, toilet block, the bowling green and the Victoria Inn pub, where the small, humble, quaint but productive little railway station sat for Glasson Dock along the line here that split off in two directions. One to my right went to the dock that faced more towards the Lune and Lancaster, the other went off into the marina, say, in that direction. And then the line travelled all the way around over the viaduct past Conde Green station to Lancaster, a single track bed. Now the track itself through the former station is now part of the Lancashire Coastal Way and the larger Bay Cycleway from Glasson Dock to near the city of Lancaster, and this is where the station was itself. So if you were to catch a train from Glasson Dock, you'd pass over the River Lune west over the viaduct to your first and only official station on the line called Conder Green. So I've set off from leaving the station area, which is just down that direction there, and the railway line spanned all the way around and curved sort of in a northerly direction towards Conde Green, which is the only intermediate station, or well, the official one. There was a private halt, but it's right beside the estuary, and Glasson Dock itself as well, just over in that area down there. There's a little snack van, it's got a lovely little cafe, got some great ice creams, and they've got something called the Lancashire Smokehouse as well, which I nipped in there. You know I love my food. They've got smoked fish, kippers and salmon and cheeses and duck breasts. They've got so much going in that shop. I'll put a link in the description area down below if you want to go and check those out. In fact, they get salmon from Scotland, the kippers, they smoke them here, and then they send them back to Scotland. Yeah, that's good old Lancashire for you. I mean, we did invent the haggis. Link down below as well. On handheld now. Let's bring you around here on this side. So as you're walking along, tipping over, you can see the viaduct. Is it a viaduct to a bridge? It's got more than one pillar, one strut underneath. I think it's a viaduct. Just going across, that was what the railway line used, went across. And that building over in the distance, for what I'm told and believe, was Conder Green Railway Station. Or something similar anyway. And it follows it all. Can you imagine if a heritage line was along here, going to Lancaster? How beautiful that would be along the estuary, along the bank here. What a waste. It could have so been saved and utilised. And yes, someone's decided to come out with a jackhammer. Going along the estuary, and it follows the estuary all the way, just it gets towards the Lune estate, towards Lancaster. But we'll have a little butcher's and see what we can find down there. Carry on. Railway tracks. So you still have a railway, just not long enough. So, Conde Green Railway Station. Although on the photographs it looks like a wooden affair, we have the brick building behind us now, which is a cafe, which is still part of the Lancashire Coastal Way and the larger cycleway that comes round here. So now we're going to work our way more towards Lancaster to what was the Ashton Hall halt. But what is interesting, just past the viaduct here where the cafe is now, supposedly Conder Green Station, there's two structures in the ground, large fence posts particularly in them. There's what could be an occupational crossing. It's always nice to try and look out for features that still remain, hidden ghostly relics of a railway's past. Can you believe that somewhere under here is the platform to Ashton Hall halt? And as you can imagine, back in those days, like the Ashtons, nobility, people of prominence in the area, had quite a say if they weren't just stakeholders in the railway line being built. Oh, you must build it near the railway, you must build my halt near the railway, a private one at that, which is normally the case when they got involved in anything to do with the railways. But there you go. Have a look at this picture that I've managed to find off the internet. I believe this was taken about 1964. Goods trains ran up till about then, all the way to Glasson Dock. No passengers unfortunately, but as you can see, in comparison to today, this is what it looks like. And really this is the only station, albeit a private halt, that you can see left of the railway, that you can put side by side, unlike Glasson Dock or Conde Green. Very difficult to work out. In fact, where that big sideboard is, I believe that area there is the platform. But you wouldn't know. To the untrained eye, you just would not know. You think this is just a path area and someone's plonked a house there, wouldn't you really? But there's always more to see and more to find when you go along these walks, because a lot of the walks around the country now are old past railway lines. Such a fantastic picture to see. Oh, I need to put this bag down. There was actually another halt, a lesser known halt, and according to my notes here, it was a private dwelling along the line at Adcliffe Hall, a 19th century country house which is no longer remaining. It's all disappeared and gone. In fact, it was demolished in the 60s. The latter construction was a replacement of a previous medieval building built of local stone on the bank of the Lune estuary before the latter one, which is gone, was constructed. And that's it. These are the last stations along this line section before we head up towards the Lune area there of Lancaster, where I'm going to pick the line up, dump my bag and then get on with the rest of this video. If you live locally and you want to come down here, all the links from the description area down below where you can explore this line and what it has to offer, including some gorgeous smoked produce. Back to the car. Won't be a bit. Won't be a bit. Won't be a minute. Wow, brilliant. So you just love stuff like this. And it won't be long, it's actually in a month's time, that all this will be gone. Because the next main feature that came off the line was St George's Quay and Gasworks. To the west of the Lune Road, the branch line continued to meet the Lancaster Quay branch and then towards the southwest alongside the Lune Mills. This being one of the warehouses and workshops that was situated along the line. There's evidence of railway lines still in the grounds around, and all this in exactly about a month's time will be completely demolished and submitted alongside with many other features to the history books. So running off the railway line, once there was a power station running east of the branch line built by the Corporation of Electricity. The station supplied power to 12,500 lamps and enough power at full capacity to provide power for the Lancaster trams in 1903. The primary power station in the area, called Williamson Power Station, had two 3 megawatt generators and two 0.5 megawatt generators. They used to run in parallel with a Norweb network at 6.6 kilovolts. And the coal trains stopped coming here to feed these very hungry boilers around 1976 when the power station closed on the 25th of October. And some of the buildings were then demolished, with the site now occupied by commercial and industrial units. Very noisy ones at that. An unusual locomotive was seen bobbing around these areas. Unlike some of the buildings, a fireless loco from the power station still survives. The loco was used at the site until 1966, until moving it to its final resting place at Heysham Power Station in 1971. The fireless engine was topped up with steam from the power station and had the ability of high pressure, meaning it was a very efficient method of traction. Heysham No. 2 spent a number of years on display at Southport after being delivered on a long-term loan into the Ribble Steam Railway Museum in 1999. Then, having a full cosmetic restoration in 2006, is now currently on display, exhibited in the museum building at Preston. To the line was St George Quay and the Gasworks. To the west of the Lune, the branch line continued to meet Lancaster Quay branch, and then on towards the southwest alongside the Lune Mills. So here we follow the line shadow to one of the main railway stations on the West Coast Mainline, ending our journey from a sleepy little dock to one of Britain's most historic cities. Originally known as Lancaster Castle Station, this was officially opened on September the 21st, 1846, with the first public service on the following 17th of December. Still in good function today, unlike our lost lines that are now walkable and part of a cycleway. So with Glasson Dock Station being handed over to the Midland and Scottish Railway in 1923, it closed 7 years later on the 7th of July 1930, when the last passengers left this station on the west side down bay platform. The line remained in place for goods, but due to low line flooding from the sea and an increase in the motor vehicles, the final act of train travel occurred in September 1964. And that's when the tracks, the gates, the signals and the sleepers fell eternally silent to the age of steam. Of 240 kilowatts. Typical. That's rolling. Turn that into there. 1, 2, 3. So nearly ending our journey here towards one of Britain's most busiest railway stations. No, it's not, it's Lancaster. So it's about here. So lights. Oh my gosh, this is difficult. Have you finished? So the lights first shone. And one of the best things about this is I've been given permission and access to come in here. They've opened the big doors for me. Just have a little wander around along what would be the shop floor, we can call it, can't we? Take a few pictures and have a look at the features and share with you history that's surrounding me right now. Okie dokie, so this is it now. So I've put my little boom mic on here. You might just see the little dead cat. But be given opportunities to walk around and have a look at this fantastic warehouse. I'd love to know what it was. I will do some research and I'll put it in the description area down below. But what is interesting, you've got some wooden beams on the building on the right hand side, whereas the one in the central here, the main shop floor if it will, seems to be all steel beams and plenty of pigeons and puddles. Now it's very dark down this area, so this is only really the safe main area that I can walk around in. But you can see the vast, huge size of this. A cathedral of industry. It used to be called Old Glasson and Bowes Silk. So there. A gander on this one. The size of that ship. And a train. Peekaboo. This is the classic. Pick up the camera, don't forget it's shot. horse or canal initially. Canal. Now that's a new one for the books. Shall we try that again, Nodrog? Bloody hell. Canal. Fine. And what it has to offer, including some gorgeous smoked produce. Back to the car. Won't be a bit. Won't be a bit. Won't be a minute.